Love isn't something you can force, control, or define. It flows naturally, like a river carving its way through the landscape of our lives. Trusting love means letting go of fear, releasing doubt, and embracing the beauty of the journey. It's not about perfection or permanence. It's about patience, vulnerability, and self-belief. When you trust the natural flow of love, you free yourself to experience deeper connections and authentic joy. Let love guide you, teach you, and transform you exactly as it's meant to. Will you take that leap of faith? Love is a beautiful yet complex emotion that we all seek, cherish, and navigate. But the truth about love is often far from the fairy tales we grew up believing. Love is imperfect because people are imperfect. It carries with it a mix of joy and challenges, fulfillment and frustration, clarity and confusion. To truly embrace love, we must first understand and accept its imperfection. When someone loves you, they do so through the lens of their own experiences, beliefs, and wounds. No two people love in the exact same way, and sometimes that difference creates misunderstandings. Someone may express love through their words, while another may do so through actions. Neither way is better or worse, but these differences can lead to moments where you feel unseen or unloved. In truth, it's not the absence of love, but rather a difference in how it's being communicated. Love also challenges us to face our vulnerabilities. To love someone deeply is to risk being hurt. This fear of rejection or loss can cause people to behave in ways that appear distant or inconsistent. When someone pulls away, it may be their way of protecting their own heart, not a sign that their love has disappeared. These moments can be painful, but they offer an opportunity for growth for both you and the other person. It's important to recognize that love doesn't erase personal struggles. Someone who loves you may still wrestle with their insecurities, doubts, or emotional baggage. Their imperfections don't diminish their love for you. Instead, they highlight their humanity. It's a reminder that love isn't about perfection. It's about connection, understanding, and the willingness to navigate life's ups and downs together. To accept love in its imperfect form requires compassion. When we place unrealistic expectations on love, we set ourselves up for disappointment. Expecting someone to always understand your needs, meet your desires, or never make mistakes creates a fragile foundation for a relationship. Love flourishes not in perfection, but in the grace we extend to each other during imperfect moments. Consider the times you may have fallen short in love. Perhaps you said something hurtful in a moment of anger or failed to show appreciation when it was needed. Those moments didn't mean you loved any less. They were reflections of your own humanity. Just as you would hope for forgiveness and understanding, it's essential to offer the same to others. Love's imperfections are also what make it real and meaningful. If love were flawless, it would lack depth. The moments of challenge and reconciliation, of misunderstanding and clarity strengthen the bonds between people. They teach us patience, empathy, and resilience. They remind us that love is not about avoiding conflict, but about navigating it with kindness and respect. When love feels imperfect, it's often an invitation to look inward. What are your expectations? Are they rooted in fear or past experiences? Are you seeking perfection in another person as a way to avoid confronting your own imperfections? These reflections can lead to greater self-awareness and, in turn, a deeper capacity for love. Another layer to love's imperfection is timing. Sometimes the person who loves you is not ready to fully express or act on that love. Their silence or distance can feel like rejection, but it may simply be their way of processing their own emotions. In these moments, it's crucial to balance compassion for them with care for yourself. Recognizing their struggles doesn't mean accepting neglect or mistreatment. Healthy love acknowledges the imperfections while maintaining mutual respect and understanding. True love doesn't ask for perfection, it asks for presence. It thrives in the willingness to show up, even when things are difficult. It grows in the effort to communicate, even when it's uncomfortable. And it endures through the recognition that neither of you is perfect. But together you can create something beautiful. Embracing the imperfection of love also means letting go of the idea that love will always feel magical or effortless. The highs of love are exhilarating, but the lows are equally important. They remind us to appreciate the moments of joy and connection while working through challenges with patience and commitment. Love, in its truest form, is a balance of both. So when love feels imperfect, don't see it as a failure. Instead, see it as a reflection of life itself, messy, unpredictable, and full of growth. Love is not about finding someone who meets all your needs without fault. It's about finding someone who is willing to grow with you, to learn with you, and to stand by you through the imperfections. In the end, love's imperfection is its greatest teacher. It teaches us to forgive, to let go of unrealistic expectations, and to cherish the moments of connection amidst the challenges. By embracing the imperfections in love, you allow it to flourish in its most authentic form, a love that is raw, real, and deeply transformative. Self-love is the cornerstone of a fulfilling and balanced life. It is not an indulgence or a luxury, it is a necessity. The way you treat yourself sets the standard for how others treat you, and the relationship you have with yourself determines the quality of your relationships with others. Yet self-love is often misunderstood or overlooked. Some may see it as selfish, while others might confuse it with arrogance. In truth, self-love is the purest form of self-respect and self-care, a recognition of your inherent worth and the commitment to nurture and honor yourself every day. To begin with, self-love requires self-awareness. It's about taking the time to understand who you truly are, your strengths, your weaknesses, your dreams and your fears. It involves listening to the voice within, the one that knows what you need and what makes you thrive. Self-awareness is not always easy. It means confronting uncomfortable truths and letting go of the masks you may wear to please others. But this process is essential. You cannot love yourself fully if you don't know yourself deeply. When you love yourself, you make your well-being a priority. You recognize that your needs matter and that taking care of yourself is not selfish but essential. This could mean setting boundaries with people who drain your energy or saying no to commitments that overwhelm you. It might involve dedicating time to rest, nourish your body, or engage in activities that bring you joy. Self-love teaches you that it's okay to put yourself first because you cannot pour from an empty cup. Another vital aspect of self-love is self-compassion. Life will not always go as planned, and you will make mistakes. There will be moments when you feel inadequate or fall short of your own expectations. Self-love is about being gentle with yourself during those times. Instead of harshly criticizing yourself, you choose to speak to yourself with kindness and understanding. You remind yourself that everyone makes mistakes and that imperfection is a part of being human. Self-compassion is the antidote to self-criticism, helping you move forward with grace and resilience. Self-love also involves the practice of forgiveness, not just for others, but for yourself. Holding on to guilt, shame, or regret only weighs you down and keeps you stuck in the past. Forgiving yourself doesn't mean condoning your mistakes. It means recognizing that you did the best you could with what you knew at the time. By letting go of self-blame, you create space for growth and healing. Forgiveness allows you to move forward, free from the chains of the past. Another key element of self-love is celebrating your uniqueness. In a world that often tries to fit people into molds, Self-love encourages you to embrace what makes you different. It's about appreciating your quirks, talents, and individuality. When you love yourself, you stop comparing yourself to others and start recognizing your own value. You understand that your worth is not determined by external achievements or societal standards, but by the person you are inside. Self-love also strengthens your resilience. When you have a strong foundation of self-love, you are less affected by external criticism or rejection. You know your value, so the opinions of others don't define you. This doesn't mean you become immune to pain, but it does mean that you recover more quickly because your sense of self-worth is rooted within, not dependent on external validation. The practice of self-love extends to your thoughts and beliefs. Negative self-talk can be one of the biggest barriers to self-love. If you constantly tell yourself that you're not good enough, smart enough, or attractive enough, you're creating an internal environment of doubt and fear. Loving yourself means challenging these thoughts and replacing them with affirmations of your worth. It means being your own cheerleader, reminding yourself of your strengths and accomplishments, and believing in your potential. One of the most transformative aspects of self-love is the way it radiates outward. When you love yourself, you naturally attract healthier relationships and opportunities. You stop seeking approval from others because you already approve of yourself. You stop settling for less than you deserve because you know your value. Self-love creates a ripple effect, improving not only your life but also the lives of those around you. Practicing self-love is a lifelong journey. It's not about achieving perfection, but about making a daily commitment to honor yourself. Some days will be easier than others, and that's okay. What matters is the intention and effort you put into nurturing your relationship with yourself. In the end, self-love is the foundation upon which everything else is built. It gives you the strength to face challenges, the courage to pursue your dreams, and the capacity to give and receive love. By loving yourself, you create a life that reflects your true worth, a life filled with authenticity, joy, and peace. When you choose self-love, you choose to honor the incredible being that you are. Releasing assumptions is one of the most freeing and transformative practices you can embrace. Assumptions are often subtle, lurking beneath the surface of your thoughts, yet they shape how you interpret situations, interact with others, and even view yourself. These mental shortcuts may seem helpful in the moment, allowing you to quickly make sense of the world. However, assumptions often lead to misunderstandings, unnecessary pain, and missed opportunities for connection. By learning to release assumptions, you open yourself to truth, clarity, and deeper relationships. Assumptions are born from your past experiences, fears, and beliefs. They fill the gaps in your understanding when you don't have all the facts. For example, if someone doesn't respond to your text, you might assume they're upset with you or ignoring you intentionally. This interpretation may not be true, yet it triggers emotions like worry, frustration, or resentment. Instead of waiting for clarification, you might act on your assumption, creating conflict where none existed. In reality, their lack of response could simply mean they're busy or dealing with their own challenges. This is the trap of assumptions. They often distort reality, creating unnecessary emotional turmoil. When you assume, you stop being curious. Curiosity is the gateway to understanding, while assumptions close the door. Releasing assumptions means choosing to stay open to possibilities instead of jumping to conclusions. It's about asking questions and seeking clarity rather than filling in the blanks with your own stories. For example, if a friend cancels plans, instead of assuming they don't value your time, you could ask if everything is okay. This simple act of inquiry not only prevents misunderstandings, but also shows care and empathy, strengthening your connection. One of the most significant areas where assumptions cause harm is in relationships. When you assume you know what someone else is thinking or feeling, you limit the potential for genuine communication. You might assume your partner knows how much you appreciate them, but without expressing it, they may feel unseen or undervalued. Similarly, you might assume someone's actions are meant to hurt you when, in reality, they had no such intention. These unspoken assumptions create walls of misunderstanding, leading to unnecessary tension and distance. Releasing assumptions requires self-awareness. You must first recognize when you're making an assumption. This can be challenging because assumptions often feel like facts. They arise so quickly that you may not even notice them. A useful practice is to pause whenever you feel triggered by a situation or interaction. Ask yourself, what am I assuming right now? Is there evidence to support this, or am I filling in the blanks? This moment of reflection creates space for clarity and prevents you from reacting impulsively. Another powerful tool in releasing assumptions is shifting your perspective. Instead of defaulting to a negative interpretation, consider alternative explanations. For instance, if someone seems distant, rather than assuming they're upset with you, consider that they might be preoccupied with their own worries. By broadening your perspective, you cultivate compassion and reduce the likelihood of taking things personally. Letting go of assumptions also means letting go of the need to control outcomes. Assumptions often stem from a desire to predict or manage situations. You assume something will go a certain way because uncertainty feels uncomfortable. However, clinging to assumptions only limits your experience. When you release the need to control, you allow life to unfold naturally. This openness invites unexpected insights, opportunities, and connections that might otherwise be missed. Forgiveness plays a vital role in releasing assumptions. When you assume the worst about someone's intentions, it's easy to hold on to resentment. But when you choose to forgive, you free yourself from the burden of anger and disappointment. Forgiveness doesn't mean condoning harmful behavior. It means releasing the story you've created about the situation and choosing peace over bitterness. It's a gift you give yourself, allowing you to move forward without the weight of assumptions. Releasing assumptions also applies to how you view yourself. You may assume that you're not capable of achieving a goal or that others are judging you harshly. These self-imposed limitations keep you stuck in fear and doubt. Challenging these assumptions requires kindness and courage. Replace them with affirmations of your potential and worth. Remind yourself that you are more capable than you believe and that your worth isn't defined by others' opinions. In releasing assumptions, you cultivate trust in yourself, in others, and in the flow of life. You recognize that you don't need to have all the answers or predict every outcome. Trusting the process allows you to navigate uncertainty with grace. It enables you to approach situations with curiosity, confidence, and an open heart. Ultimately, releasing assumptions is an act of freedom. It frees you from the prison of your own mind, where imagined fears and judgments often reside. It opens the door to truth, fostering deeper understanding and connection with yourself and others. By letting go of assumptions, you invite authenticity, compassion, and clarity into your life. It's a practice that transforms not only how you see the world, but also how you experience it. Communicating with openness is a vital practice for building trust, fostering understanding, and deepening connections in every area of life. Openness is not just about speaking your truth, it's about creating a space where both you and the other person feel heard, valued, and respected. It requires honesty, vulnerability, and the courage to listen without judgment. True openness is a two-way exchange where both parties are willing to engage with sincerity and compassion. One of the first steps to communicating with openness is developing self-awareness. You need to understand your feelings, thoughts, and intentions before you can express them clearly to others. This involves pausing to reflect on what you want to communicate and why. When you're in touch with your own emotions, you're less likely to project misunderstandings or hidden agendas onto the conversation. Instead, you approach the interaction with clarity, allowing your words to align with your intentions. Openness in communication also involves honesty. Speaking your truth does not mean being harsh or blunt. It means expressing yourself authentically while considering the impact of your words. Honest communication fosters trust because it shows that you're willing to share your real thoughts and feelings even when it's uncomfortable. When you withhold or sugarcoat the truth, you create barriers that can lead to confusion or resentment. Honesty paired with kindness lays the foundation for meaningful dialogue. Equally important is the ability to listen with an open mind. Often people approach conversations with preconceived notions or the desire to respond rather than understand. Openness requires you to set aside assumptions and truly hear what the other person is saying. This involves active listening, paying attention to their words, tone, and body language without interrupting or judging. By being fully present, you demonstrate respect and create an environment where the other person feels safe to share. Openness also requires vulnerability. It takes courage to express your innermost thoughts and feelings, especially when there's a risk of being misunderstood or rejected. Vulnerability, however, is not a weakness, it's a strength. It shows that you value authenticity over perfection and that you're willing to take emotional risks to deepen your connections. When you share your struggles, fears, or uncertainties, you invite others to do the same, fostering mutual understanding and empathy. Another key aspect of open communication is the willingness to acknowledge and address conflict. Avoiding difficult conversations may feel easier in the short term, but it often leads to unresolved tension and misunderstandings. Openness means approaching conflict with a mindset of resolution rather than blame. Instead of focusing on who's right or wrong, aim to find common ground. Use I statements to express how you feel without accusing or attacking the other person. For example, say, "I feel hurt when this happens," instead of "you always make me feel this way." This shifts the conversation from confrontation to collaboration. Empathy is at the heart of communicating with openness. To truly connect with someone, you need to see the situation from their perspective. Empathy allows you to validate their feelings and experiences, even if you don't fully agree with them. When someone feels understood, they're more likely to open up and engage in meaningful dialogue. By practicing empathy, you create a bridge of connection that transcends differences. Being open also means embracing feedback, even when it's uncomfortable. Constructive criticism is an opportunity for growth, but it can only be received if you approach it with an open heart and mind. Instead of becoming defensive or dismissive, view feedback as a gift that helps you improve. Ask questions for clarity, thank the person for their honesty, and take time to reflect on their perspective. This level of openness requires humility and a willingness to learn. Nonverbal communication plays a significant role in openness as well. Your body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice often speak louder than words. Maintain eye contact, nod in acknowledgement, and use a calm, steady tone to convey attentiveness and sincerity. These small actions show that you're fully engaged in the conversation, reinforcing the message that you value what the other person has to say. Openness also extends to accepting uncertainty. Not every conversation will lead to immediate resolution or agreement, and that's okay. Openness is about the process, not just the outcome. It's about showing up with honesty, vulnerability, and empathy, even when the path forward isn't clear. By embracing this uncertainty, you create room for dialogue to evolve organically. Ultimately, communicating with openness transforms relationships. It builds bridges of trust and understanding, allowing you to navigate challenges with grace and connect with others on a deeper level. It fosters an environment where authenticity thrives and where both parties feel empowered to share their truths without fear of judgment. Openness is a choice, a practice, and a gift you give to yourself and others, a commitment to connection, understanding, and growth. Forgiving and accepting imperfections is one of the most profound ways to nurture peace within yourself and your relationships. Perfection is an illusion, a standard no one can truly meet. When you hold yourself or others to an impossible ideal, you invite frustration, disappointment, and pain. Forgiveness and acceptance, however, open the door to compassion and understanding. They allow you to let go of unrealistic expectations and embrace the beautiful complexity of being human. Forgiveness begins within. Often the harshest judgments we hold are directed at ourselves. You may find yourself replaying past mistakes, dwelling on what you could have done differently, or criticizing your perceived flaws. This self-criticism creates a cycle of guilt and shame that can be hard to break. But forgiveness is not about condoning your mistakes, it's about releasing the emotional weight they carry. It's acknowledging that you are a work in progress and that imperfection is part of growth. By forgiving yourself, you create space for healing and self-love. Acceptance of your imperfections doesn't mean giving up on self-improvement. Instead, it means recognizing that growth comes from a place of self-compassion, not self-rejection. When you accept where you are, you can approach change with a gentle and patient mindset. For example, if you struggle with procrastination, accepting that it's something you're working on allows you to address it without self-criticism. This mindset shift makes it easier to take steps toward positive change because you're not weighed down by feelings of inadequacy. Forgiving others for their imperfections is equally transformative. People make mistakes, say things they don't mean, and sometimes fail to meet your expectations. Holding on to resentment or anger only prolongs your suffering. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. It frees you from the emotional burden of carrying someone else's wrongs. It doesn't mean forgetting what happened or excusing harmful behavior. It means choosing to release the pain and move forward with peace in your heart. Acceptance of others' imperfections goes hand in hand with forgiveness. Everyone is on their own journey, shaped by their experiences, fears, and struggles. When you accept this, you realize that no one can meet all your expectations all the time. By letting go of the need for others to be perfect, you create space for genuine connection. You see people for who they truly are, not who you want them to be. This shift fosters deeper empathy and allows relationships to thrive. Forgiving and accepting imperfections also requires setting boundaries. Forgiveness doesn't mean tolerating repeated harm or allowing others to take advantage of your kindness. It's possible to forgive someone while maintaining boundaries to protect your well-being. Acceptance doesn't mean settling for less than you deserve. It means recognizing that no one is perfect, including yourself. Healthy boundaries ensure that forgiveness and acceptance come from a place of strength, not compromise. Letting go of perfectionism in your relationships creates an environment where love and understanding can flourish. Expecting perfection from a partner, friend, or family member sets them up to fail and creates unnecessary tension. When you accept that they have flaws, just as you do, you open the door to deeper connection. It's about celebrating each other's strengths while being patient and compassionate with weaknesses. This mindset fosters trust and mutual respect, strengthening the bond between you. Forgiveness and acceptance are not one-time acts, they are ongoing practices. Some days you may find it easier to forgive and accept than others. That's okay. What matters is your commitment to returning to these practices, even when it feels difficult. Remind yourself that growth takes time and that every step forward, no matter how small, is progress. Releasing the need for perfection also transforms how you view challenges and setbacks. When you accept imperfection as a natural part of life, you're less likely to be derailed by mistakes or failures. Instead of seeing them as signs of inadequacy, you view them as opportunities to learn and grow. This perspective shift allows you to approach life with resilience and a sense of curiosity. It's not about avoiding mistakes, it's about learning how to navigate them with grace. Forgiveness and acceptance are acts of love, not just for others, but for yourself. They remind you that it's okay to be human, to falter, and to learn along the way. They encourage you to see the beauty in imperfection, in the cracks and flaws that make each person unique. By embracing this truth, you free yourself from the burden of unrealistic expectations and step into a space of compassion and peace. The power of forgiveness and acceptance lies in their ability to transform pain into understanding, resentment into empathy, and judgment into love. They teach you that perfection is not the goal, connection and growth are. When you let go of the need for yourself and others to be flawless, you open your heart to the richness of authentic relationships and the peace that comes with self-compassion. This practice is a lifelong journey, but with every step you move closer to a life filled with love, understanding, and freedom. Trusting love's natural flow is about releasing the need to control, predict, or perfect relationships, and instead embracing the organic, evolving nature of love. It's about surrendering to the journey of connection, knowing that love, when nurtured with patience and authenticity, will find its own way to grow and flourish. This trust doesn't mean being passive or indifferent. It means understanding that love has its rhythm, its seasons, and its lessons, and that trying to force it into rigid expectations often creates more resistance than harmony. Love is not something you can command or control. It cannot be dictated by timelines, outcomes, or guarantees. True love flows naturally when two people come together with open hearts, free of the need to constantly define or confine what they share. When you trust this flow, you allow love the freedom to develop at its own pace. It becomes less about achieving a perfect relationship and more about experiencing the joy of connection in the present moment. This shift in mindset relieves the pressure of having to know exactly where love is heading and instead focuses on the beauty of the journey. Fear and doubt can often disrupt love's natural flow. You might find yourself questioning whether you're good enough, whether the other person truly loves you, or whether the relationship will last. These doubts come from a place of wanting certainty and control, but they can suffocate the very essence of love. Trust requires you to let go of these fears and to believe in the strength and authenticity of the bond you share. It's about understanding that love is not about perfection or permanence. It's about being present and open to the experiences it brings. One of the most liberating aspects of trusting love's natural flow is accepting that not every relationship will last forever. This doesn't diminish the value of love. Instead, it reminds you that love's purpose is not always to be permanent, but to teach, heal, and transform. Some relationships are meant to be lifelong, while others come into your life for a season or a reason. Trusting the flow of love means appreciating it for what it offers in the moment, without clinging to it out of fear of loss. It's about recognizing that even when love changes or fades, its impact remains a part of your journey. Trusting love also requires faith in your own ability to give and receive it. Many people struggle with feeling unworthy of love, believing they need to earn it through achievements, sacrifices, or perfection. This belief creates a barrier that prevents love from flowing freely. When you trust that you are inherently deserving of love, just as you are, you open yourself to deeper and more authentic connections. This self-trust allows you to engage in relationships with confidence, knowing that you don't have to prove your worth or force someone to love you. Trusting love's natural flow involves patience. Relationships are not linear, they have highs and lows, moments of closeness and moments of distance. When challenges arise, it's easy to feel anxious or to question the strength of the bond. But trusting the flow means understanding that love, like a river, will encounter obstacles but can still find its way. Challenges are opportunities for growth, not signals of failure. Patience allows you to navigate these moments with grace, giving love the space it needs to evolve. Communication plays a vital role in trusting love's flow. Openness and honesty create a foundation of trust that allows love to thrive. By sharing your thoughts and feelings without fear of judgment, you create a safe space where both you and your partner can be your authentic selves. This kind of connection fosters mutual understanding and reinforces the trust that love will guide you both toward the right path, even in uncertain times. Another important aspect of trusting love's flow is letting go of comparisons. Every relationship is unique, shaped by the individuals involved and the journey they share. Comparing your love to someone else's creates unnecessary doubt and insecurity. Instead, focus on nurturing the connection you have, appreciating its distinct qualities and the joy it brings. Trusting the flow means valuing in your relationship for what it is rather than measuring it against external standards. Trusting love's natural flow also includes embracing vulnerability. Love requires openness, and openness requires the courage to be seen for who you truly are. This vulnerability can feel risky, especially if you fear rejection or hurt. But trust means believing that the rewards of connection outweigh the risks. It's about understanding that vulnerability is not a weakness but a strength that deepens intimacy and fosters trust. Finally, trusting love's flow means trusting yourself. It's about believing in your ability to navigate relationships with wisdom, compassion, and resilience. It's about knowing that even when love feels uncertain or challenging, you have the inner strength to move through it. This self-trust allows you to approach love with an open heart, free of the need to control or predict its outcome. When you trust love's natural flow, you experience its beauty in its purest form. You let go of the need to force, define, or control, and instead embrace love as a journey of growth, discovery, and connection. You allow it to teach you, to heal you, and to transform you, knowing that its path, however unpredictable, will always lead you toward greater understanding and joy.